Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most iconic U.S. coins, the Washington Quarter. These quarters have been circulating since 1932, and some of them are worth a lot more than their face value today. In this video, we're going to take a look at the top 10 most valuable Washington quarters in today's market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newbie, this list will give you insight into the rarest and most valuable quarters out there. So, let's get started. First up, the 1966 Washington Quarter Dollar without a mint mark. This circulated coin, a rare gem for collectors, has been climbing in value in today's market. If you have one of these quarters lying around, you might just have a hidden treasure in your hands. So let's break down what makes this quarter special, how much it's worth, and what you should look for to determine if your 1966 quarter is a rare find worth big dollars. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the quarter's obverse side features the iconic portrait of Washington. By 1965, a significant change occurred. Quarters switched from a 90% silver composition to a copper-nickel-clad structure due to the rising cost of silver. This composition change is why the 1966 quarter does not contain any silver, but this coin still holds value beyond its face due to historical factors, collector interest, and market rarity. In 1965, the U.S. Mint removed all mint marks from quarters in response to coin shortages. This continued until 1967, so the 1966 quarter doesn't show a mint mark, making it tricky to distinguish where it was produced. However, coins from this era still vary in value depending on their condition and rarity. Now, let's talk about what you should check for in your 1966 quarter. When you look at a 1966 Washington quarter, you'll notice some essential details. First, examine the overall condition of the coin. While today we're focusing on circulated coins, any 1966 quarter in excellent circulated condition can still be worth a premium. Look for wear on the high points of Washington's hair, as well as scratches, dents, and other signs of handling. But here's a key tip: quarters in circulated condition may have subtle differences, like double dies or unique strike errors, that could significantly increase their value. So be sure to inspect your coin closely or even use a magnifying glass to spot any unique details. In terms of known errors, some 1966 quarters exhibit interesting flaws, like double die errors or die cracks. These variations are sometimes due to misalignments or other imperfections in the die during the minting process. Error coins from this era, even if circulated, are highly collectible and can go for much more than standard coins in the market. Now, let's get to the value. A typical circulated 1966 Washington quarter without any notable errors might be worth between $130,000 today, depending on condition. But if you have a quarter with unique die errors, that value could increase substantially. Quarters with significant doubling or other rare minting errors have sold for $220,000 and even higher, depending on the demand among collectors. And some examples in outstanding circulated condition or with eye-catching flaws can bring even more. One reason for the recent increase in value for 1966 quarters is the collector interest in transitional coins. This era marks the shift from silver to clad coinage, which gives these quarters historical appeal. Coins with a story or specific period connection often attract higher prices. Stay updated on market trends. The coin market fluctuates, and prices can rise for coins with historical significance, like this 1966 quarter. Keep an eye on auction sites and coin collecting forums for the latest trends. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, keeping these points in mind can help you make the most of your 1966 quarter. It's amazing how even a circulated quarter can hold more value than expected due to historical interest, rarity, and collector demand. Next up, the 1965 Washington Quarter Dollar without a mint mark, and why it's making waves in today's coin market, especially when it's in very good condition. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one. Before we get into the specifics of the 1965 Washington Quarter, let's talk a little bit about the Washington Quarter series as a whole. First minted in 1932, the Washington Quarter Dollar features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, created by sculptor John Flanagan. This coin has been through many different versions, including some big changes in the 1960s, which brings us to the 1965 Washington Quarter. 1965 was a pivotal year in the history of U.S. coins, particularly for the quarter. It marked the end of silver in the U.S. quarter series, at least for the time being. The 1965 Washington Quarter is one of the last to contain silver before the U.S. government switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. The U.S. Mint made a huge transition in 1965, and all quarters minted from that year onward were made of a copper-nickel-clad, not pure silver. Now, let's get into the specifics of the 1965 quarter. The obverse features George Washington's portrait, as we discussed earlier, with liberty inscribed along the top, and in God we trust beneath his chin. You also see the year 1965 marked at the bottom, directly beneath Washington's neck. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows and an olive branch. Above the eagle, you'll find the words United States of America and the coin's denomination $quarter. But here's the catch: the 1965 Washington Quarter, without a mint mark, is the key piece. You might be wondering, what does it mean if a coin doesn't have a mint mark? Let me explain. All coins produced by the U.S. Mint typically have a mint mark indicating which mint produced the coin. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped placing mint marks on quarters, meaning there's no D for Denver or S for San Francisco. This makes the 1965 Washington Quarter with no mint mark a distinctive coin to look out for. Now, let's talk about why this coin is so valuable today, especially if it's in very good condition. First, the 1965 Washington Quarter is still made of 90% silver, which automatically gives it intrinsic value. Even though the U.S. Mint stopped making pure silver coins after 1964, the 1965 Quarter still contains silver, making it highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. Coins from this era with silver content tend to hold their value well over time, and because the 1965 Quarter is one of the last silver quarters before the switch to clad coins, it's considered somewhat of a transition coin. Collectors and investors love these types of coins because they represent a moment in history. Now, when we talk about very good condition, we're referring to a coin that has seen some wear, but the details are still visible. It won't be as pristine as an uncirculated coin, but a very good condition 1965 Quarter will still show clear details of Washington's portrait and the eagle on the reverse. So, you might be asking, what's the current market value of a 1965 Washington Quarter without a mint mark, especially in very good condition? Well, it's important to note that the value can vary depending on several factors, including the price of silver, the coin's condition, and market demand. As of now, a 1965 Washington Quarter without a mint mark in very good condition typically ranges between $170,000 for its silver content alone. But if you find one in higher grade conditions, such as extra fine or uncirculated, the value could easily climb into the $380,000 range, and in some rare cases, even higher. And don't forget, if the silver market surges, the value of these quarters could go up as well. So, while it may seem like a modest coin, the 1965 Washington Quarter has a solid base value just because it's silver. If you have a 1965 Washington Quarter and you're thinking about selling it, it's always best to get it appraised first. A certified coin dealer or an online auction like eBay is a great way to find the right market for your coin. Be sure to check the prices of similar 1965 Washington Quarters to get a sense of where your coin stands. Also, remember that condition matters a lot. Coins in better condition, such as those with little to no wear or tarnish, will always fetch a higher price than those in lower grades. So, whether you've got a single 1965 Washington Quarter tucked away in a drawer or you're just starting your coin collection, remember this: while it may not be as rare as some other coins, it still holds significant value because of its silver content and the historical significance of the transition year it represents. And as always, if you come across a rare find or have a coin in your collection that you're unsure about, don't hesitate to reach out to a professional appraiser or do some research to see its market value. Next up, the Washington Quarter Dollar from 1989 with a P mint mark in excellent condition. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. The 1989 Washington Quarter Dollar with a P mint mark. At first glance, it might look like just another coin from the late 20th century. But when you dig deeper into its history, its condition, and its rarity, this coin could be worth more than you think. So let's dive into the details and see why this quarter could be worth a big chunk of change today. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, which features Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, has remained a staple of American coinage ever since in 1989. The coin continued to be struck as part of the regular series, with the mint mark P, which indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, the 1989 Washington Quarter is not one of those coins that stands out immediately as rare. But there are a few factors that can make it a collector's item, especially if it's in excellent condition. Let's talk about condition. As you probably already know, the condition of a coin is crucial when determining its value. A Washington Quarter from 1989 in excellent condition means that the coin has been well preserved, showing little to no signs of wear. The details on Washington's portrait should be sharp, and the reverse should have a clear, well-defined eagle. In excellent condition, the coin should have little to no scratches, marks, or discoloration. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, particularly those that have been preserved in coin holders or cases, are often sought after by collectors. This one right here, it's in excellent condition, and that's what makes it stand out. So why is this 1989 Washington Quarter worth more than its face value? Now, let's get to the exciting part, the market value. A 1989 Washington Quarter in excellent condition typically doesn't sell for huge amounts, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. On average, you can expect to find this coin priced between $70,000 in excellent to uncirculated condition. However, if the coin is graded as mint state or proof-like, meaning it has virtually no signs of wear and retains its original shine, it could fetch even higher prices, upwards of $100,000, and if it's a part of a special collection or a set, the value could go up significantly depending on demand. Now, you might be wondering, why such a difference in price? Well, it all depends on the coin's grade and rarity. The 1989 Quarter is still fairly common, so it's the condition that will really dictate how much it can go for in today's market. Even though the 1989 Washington Quarter with a P mint mark may not be a rare, high-value coin like some of the earlier quarters from the 1930s, it is still worth keeping an eye out for if you're a collector or investor. If you happen to come across one in excellent condition, don't just pass it by. It may not make you rich overnight, but it can still add value to your collection. Many coin collectors and dealers will pay a premium for coins in excellent condition, especially if they're looking to complete a set or fill a specific gap. So, if you find one that looks near perfect, it could be worth holding on to. To make sure your 1989 Washington Quarter maintains its value, you'll want to take good care of it. Keep it in a protective holder and avoid touching the coin directly with your fingers. The oils from your skin can tarnish the surface over time. Store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. So, there you have it, the 1989 Washington Quarter with a P mint mark in excellent condition may not be a rare coin, but it definitely holds some value in today's market. If you find one in excellent condition, it could be worth more than its face value, especially if it's well preserved or graded higher. Next up, the 1972 Washington Quarter Dollar. But this isn't just any 1972 quarter, we're specifically talking about the one without a mint mark in very good condition. So, if you're into coin collecting or just curious about the value of this coin, stick around because we're about to break it all down for you. The Washington Quarter Dollar was first minted in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, and it's remained a staple of American currency ever since. The 1972 quarter, like all others in the series, features a portrait of George Washington on the front, designed by John Flanagan, and an eagle on the reverse. What makes the 1972 Washington quarter dollar unique, aside from its historical significance, is its minting history. In 1972, the U.S. Mint produced quarters without any mint mark in Philadelphia. This means that unlike some other years where you might find a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, a 1972 quarter without a mint mark was exclusively minted in Philadelphia. Now, let's talk about condition, which is crucial when determining the value of any coin. In numismatics, the term very good refers to a coin that has been circulated and shows significant wear, but still retains most of its design details. You can see that on this 1972 quarter, Washington's face is still visible, though it's worn down. The eagle on the reverse is also slightly softened due to years of handling, but it's still identifiable. So how much is a 1972 Washington quarter without a mint mark worth today in very good condition? Well, this is where it gets interesting. Most 1972 quarters, in general, are considered fairly common. In fact, millions were minted in 1972, which means they aren't exactly rare. However, when you look at their value in the current market, the condition makes all the difference. A 1972 Washington quarter without a mint mark in very good condition typically ranges in value from about $300,000, depending on condition. For serious collectors, the value can increase slightly depending on the rarity of the specific coin within its grade. But don't expect a massive windfall from a 1972 quarter in very good condition. The higher value coins from the 1972 series are typically those that are in better condition, extra fine, uncirculated, or with mint errors. That said, if you're just starting to build a collection or you've got one of these quarters tucked away, it's still worth keeping track of its value over time. It's also worth noting that, as with any coin, market conditions can fluctuate. Sometimes, a particular year or minting may see a surge in interest, especially if it's part of a broader trend in the numismatic world. So, always keep an eye on your collection. Today's common coin could be tomorrow's treasure. In conclusion, a 1972 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark in very good condition might not make you a fortune, but it's still a piece of American history worth having in your collection. Its value might not skyrocket overnight, but as we've seen, even common coins can be a rewarding part of the hobby. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark. And believe me, this one's got some serious value, even in a very good condition. Stick around as we explore why this coin is so rare and how much it's worth in today's market. Now, when it comes to modern US coins, the 1985 Washington quarter might not be the first one that comes to mind. But trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. You might be surprised to learn that the 1985 quarter, especially with the P mint mark, is a rare find in very good condition. But before we dive into its market value, let's talk a little bit about the history of the coin. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932, created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Since then, this iconic coin has been a staple of American currency. Fast forward to 1985, and the US. Mint was still producing these quarters as part of the regular series, but the 1985 edition stands out for a few reasons. In 1985, the Philadelphia Mint produced the Washington quarter with the letter P beneath George Washington's profile. This was the first year that the P mint mark was used on quarters, which had previously only featured mint marks from Denver and San Francisco. This unique feature makes the 1985 P mint quarter quite significant for collectors. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1985 Washington quarter so special. While many of these quarters were produced, not all of them are in pristine condition. In fact, finding a 1985 quarter in very good condition is quite rare. Most coins from this era circulated extensively, which means they were subject to wear and tear. The 1985 quarter wasn't an exception. But here's the catch: a 1985 Washington quarter in very good condition is considered more valuable than you might think. So what exactly does very good condition mean in coin terms? A coin in this grade will typically have worn details, but the overall design and features, like George Washington's face and the eagle on the reverse, are still recognizable. Now, let's break down the value. In very good condition, a 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark can be worth anywhere between $250,000. But wait, don't be fooled by the seemingly modest value. What really makes it valuable is the rarity of finding one in this grade that hasn't been overly worn down or damaged. So why is this coin commanding such a price? It's all about rarity. You see, even though millions of 1985 quarters were minted, the fact that a good number of them are worn down means that there's limited supply in higher grades, especially for those that have the P mint mark. And collectors love to get their hands on coins that are a bit harder to find. If you're wondering how to spot a valuable 1985 P quarter in very good condition, here are a few tips. First, look for the mint mark. The P should be located just below the eagle on the reverse side of the coin. Next, examine the coin for any significant wear or scratches that could lower its value. The key details like Washington's profile and the eagle's wings should still be visible, though they may show signs of light wear. Another thing to remember, if your 1985 quarter is in a higher grade, let's say in extra fine or even uncirculated condition, it could be worth significantly more. Coins that are in pristine condition with minimal wear could fetch anywhere from $335,000 or more, depending on the market. So if you're lucky enough to find one in excellent shape, you could be holding a real treasure. In the world of coin collecting, demand for rare coins fluctuates, but certain coins like the 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark have remained in demand. Collectors, especially those focused on completing their collections of Washington quarters, are always on the lookout for the P mint mark from 1985. And with fewer of them in very good or higher condition, the market for this coin continues to grow. So, if you come across a 1985 Washington quarter in your collection or during your next coin hunt, don't just overlook it. Even in very good condition, this coin has significant value today. And who knows, you could have a rare find on your hands that's worth much more than you expected. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our latest coin collecting tips and insights. Have you come across any 1985 P mint quarters? Next up, the Washington quarter dollar from 1986 with the D mint mark. It's a rare find in good condition, and it's making waves in the coin market. Stick around to discover its value today and why this coin is so sought after. Alright, so first off, let's talk about what exactly makes this coin so special. The Washington quarter dollar, first minted in 1932, features George Washington's portrait on the obverse, and on the reverse, the iconic eagle standing proudly. Now, you might be familiar with the regular Washington quarters from the 1980s, but the one we're focusing on today, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar with an D mint mark, is a rarity in its own right. Now, you may be wondering, what is the significance of the D mint mark on a 1986 Washington quarter? Well, let me explain. The D mint mark on this quarter refers to the special minting process used in 1986, which was conducted at the Philadelphia Mint. Typically, most coins minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, but in the case of certain years, like 1986, there was a limited production with an D mark to distinguish these coins. These are not your typical quarters from the 1980s. This subtle mint mark adds a unique feature that collectors are now coveting. Because of this rarity, quarters with the D mint mark are incredibly hard to find. Most collectors might mistake them for regular 1986 quarters or simply overlook the importance of this particular detail. But make no mistake, this mint mark is what sets it apart in the market. Now, let's talk about the condition. The coin we're discussing today is in good condition. When we talk about coin grading, good refers to a coin that shows significant wear but still retains most of its basic features. You might see some smoothing on the design, and the details may not be as sharp as they were when the coin was first minted, but it still holds its value due to its rarity and the D mint mark. As you can see from this close-up, the obverse of the coin shows wear, but George Washington's profile is still visible, and you can just make out the words Liberty and the year 1986. On the reverse, the eagle and the inscriptions are still discernible. A coin in good condition can still fetch a significant amount because of the mint mark and its place in history. So, what's the big deal? Why is this coin worth so much today? The Washington Quarter Dollar 1986, with the D mint mark in good condition, has steadily gained value in recent years. But just how much is it worth? Well, right now, you're looking at anywhere between $500,000 on average, depending on the exact condition and where you're selling it. Now, let's be clear, this is for a coin in good condition. If you happen to find one in very fine or uncirculated condition, the value could be significantly higher. Now, keep in mind that rare coins like this one often fluctuate in price based on demand, rarity, and the current state of the market. But one thing's for sure, the 1986 Washington Quarter Dollar with the D mint mark is a coin that collectors are watching closely. If you find one in your collection, or even in your pocket change, you could be looking at a very nice surprise. So why does this coin hold such value despite its condition? Well, the rarity of the D mint mark plays a huge role in its desirability. With mintages for some years being smaller or specific to certain types of coins, collectors begin to focus on these nuances, driving demand. The Washington Quarter Dollar series has been popular for decades, but it's the special characteristics like this mint mark that elevate certain coins to the next level. In addition, the 1986 Washington Quarter is part of the larger history of U.S. quarters. It was minted during a time of economic recovery after the U.S. had gone through major changes in the 1970s, making any coin from this era more collectible. Once you've found one, you'll want to keep it safe. Coins like this are better stored in a protective holder to preserve their value and condition. So there you have it, folks. The Washington Quarter Dollar 1986 with the D mint mark in good condition is a rare find with great potential value today. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this coin is definitely one to keep an eye on. And remember, always double-check your coins for those little details that can make all the difference. Next up, the Washington Quarter Dollar from 1984 with a P mint mark. If you're a collector or a fan of rare coins, this is one you won't want to miss. We'll talk about the details, the history, and most importantly, its big market value today. Stick around. The 1984 Washington Quarter, featuring the beloved George Washington design, might not be as old as many other valuable coins, but don't let its modern age fool you. This coin holds significant value in today's market, especially when it's in extra fine condition. Let's start by taking a closer look at this coin. The Washington Quarter Dollar was first introduced in 1932, and over the years, it has gone through various designs. However, the 1984 Washington Quarter remains one of the classic renditions. The front, or obverse, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, and the reverse showcases a striking eagle perched on a branch, clutching arrows and an olive branch in its talons. The coin's edge is reeded, and it carries the inscription Liberty above Washington's head, with the year 1984 prominently displayed below. The P mint mark, located just to the right of the date, indicates that this coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. This is important because coins from the Philadelphia Mint, especially in high-quality conditions, can sometimes be rarer and more sought after than others from different mints. Now, condition is key to the value of any coin, and this Washington Quarter is in extra fine condition. That means it's seen some circulation but still retains most of its original luster and sharp details. You'll notice only minimal wear on high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's wings, which are indicators of this extra fine grade. Why is this coin so rare and valuable? Well, there are a few factors at play. First, let's talk about the minting numbers. The 1984 Washington Quarter had a fairly large mintage, but it was still a coin used in daily circulation, meaning a large number of them were worn down over time. As with any coin, the fewer in good condition, the more valuable they become. According to the U.S. Mint, around 671 million Washington Quarters were struck in 1984 across both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, most of these ended up in circulation and were used for years, which means many are in low or worn condition. Only a small percentage of them remained in excellent to extra fine condition. In terms of rarity, finding a 1984 Washington quarter in extra fine condition is quite special. The higher the grade, the more sought after it is by collectors. Add in the historical significance of the Washington Quarter series, and you've got a coin that holds a unique place in modern coin collecting. So what's the big question? How much is this coin worth today? Well, that depends on the condition and the demand. In general, a 1984 Washington quarter with a P mint mark in extra fine condition can fetch anywhere from $100,000 on the open market, though the price can go up if it's graded higher or comes with additional collector interest. However, if you have a particularly high-grade example, say one that's near mint or professionally graded at a higher level, the value could easily rise to $400,000 or even more, especially in a strong collector's market. And if you're lucky enough to find one with an error or unusual characteristic, well, that could see even more substantial value. Now, if you're wondering whether this coin is a good investment, the answer is absolutely. Coins like the 1984 Washington Quarter are considered a solid choice for collectors looking to diversify their portfolios with modern rarities. These coins are relatively affordable to start collecting, but their value can increase significantly over time as fewer high-quality examples are available. And with the continued interest in US coinage, the market for these types of coins remains steady. You never know what could happen in the future, and coins like these, while not astronomically rare, can still yield impressive returns, especially as interest in specific mint years or conditions grows. So, to wrap things up, the 1984 Washington Quarter with the P mint mark in extra fine condition is a rare coin that definitely has value. While it may not make you a millionaire, it's an excellent example of how a well-preserved, moderately modern coin can still have significant worth in the collector's market. If you're lucky enough to find one in your collection, or if you're considering adding it, it's a worthwhile investment. Next up, the Washington Quarter Dollar from 1971 with a D mint mark in very good condition. This coin is not just another piece of pocket change, but a rare gem in today's coin market. Whether you're a seasoned collector or new to the hobby, stick around as we explore what makes this coin so valuable and why it could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. Before we get into the specifics of the 1971 quarter, let's take a quick moment to appreciate the history of the Washington Quarter series. First minted in 1932, this quarter features a portrait of the first U.S. President, George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Over the decades, these coins have seen various updates and designs, but the familiar image of Washington has remained the same. Now, fast forward to 1971. The U.S. Mint struck over 500 million of these quarters that year, so why is the 1971 with the D mint mark so special? Let's dive deeper. The D mint mark on this Washington quarter indicates it was minted at the Denver Mint. In 1971, the U.S. Mint produced these quarters at two primary locations: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint. Although millions were produced in Denver, not every coin from this mint carries significant value. What sets the 1971 D mint mark coin apart is its rarity in specific conditions, and how much that condition affects its worth. When we say a coin is in very good condition, we're referring to the grade assigned by numismatic experts. A very good coin shows noticeable wear, but the details of the coin are still visible. On the Washington Quarter, this means George Washington's features and the eagle on the reverse might be worn, but the overall design is still recognizable. It's definitely a step up from coins that are heavily worn down, but not as pristine as those in extra fine or uncirculated conditions. Now, let's get to the most exciting part: the value of this coin in today's market. While 1971 quarters in general are relatively common, certain factors make this particular coin rare and valuable. First, the 1971 D quarter in very good condition is harder to find than you might think. Many of these coins were used heavily in circulation, meaning most are in lower grades, often good or fair condition. Coin value fluctuates based on condition, rarity, and demand. A 1971 D quarter in very good condition can fetch anywhere from $675,000 in the market today, depending on the specifics of the coin and its buyer. Why should you consider adding a 1971 Washington quarter with a D mint mark to your collection? Aside from the potential for steady growth in value, these coins are a fantastic investment for those who enjoy the history of U.S. coinage. The Washington Quarter series is one of the most beloved in American numismatics, and the 1971 D quarter offers an accessible entry point for new collectors who want to focus on acquiring valuable coins. While this particular coin is unlikely to hit the extreme highs of rare, key date coins like the 1932 S quarter, its steady value over time makes it a solid, long-term investment. And if you happen to find one in extra fine or uncirculated condition, you might see its value soar well beyond what we're discussing today. If you're looking to sell or acquire a 1971 D Washington quarter, there are plenty of options. You can check out online marketplaces, coin shows, or visit reputable coin dealers who can help you assess its value and provide a fair price. Always make sure to verify the authenticity of your coin before making a purchase or sale. So there you have it, the 1971 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in very good condition may not be the rarest coin out there, but it's certainly one that holds its value, especially if you're looking to grow your coin collection or make a smart investment. As always, keep an eye on the condition and make sure to shop around when buying or selling. Next up, Washington quarter dollar from 1984 with a D mint mark and its value in very good condition. If you're a coin collector or just curious about rare coins, stay tuned because you won't want to miss this. Now, when we talk about quarters from the 1980s, most people might think they're just your average pocket change. But if you've got a Washington quarter from 1984 with a D mint mark in very good condition, you're in for a nice surprise. Let's break down why this coin is so special and what kind of value it could bring today. First, let's talk about the history behind the Washington quarter itself. The design was created by John Flanagan and debuted in 1932, marking George Washington's 200th birthday. It became the official quarter design for the United States and has been in circulation ever since. Over the decades, the Washington quarter has undergone a few changes, but the general design has remained largely the same. It features George Washington on the obverse, with the words Liberty and In God We Trust above his portrait, and the year of minting below. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle, along with the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. Now, as we focus on the 1984 Washington quarter, you'll notice a few important things. The 1984 issue was struck at the Denver Mint, which is where the D mint mark comes into play. Coins from Denver are typically more common, but that doesn't mean every single one is the same. Condition is everything in the coin market. So, let's talk about condition. When we say a coin is in very good condition, we're referring to the level of wear and tear it's experienced over the years. A very good condition coin typically has some obvious signs of use like light scratches, moderate wear on the high points, and the details are still visible but not as sharp as a new, uncirculated coin. On a coin like this one, you can still see the clear features of Washington's profile and the eagle on the reverse, but there's a bit of wear from years of circulation. The edges may have softened, and the coin's luster is somewhat diminished. Now, you might be wondering, how does the market value this particular coin? Well, in very good condition, a 1984 Washington quarter with a D mint mark can typically fetch anywhere from $30,000. While this isn't a huge sum by itself, it's important to consider the factors that make this coin a little more valuable than the average quarter. The rarity of the 1984 D Washington quarter comes from its limited supply in higher grades, even though millions of these coins were minted. Coins from the early 1980s were circulated heavily, so finding one in anything above very good condition can be a bit of a challenge. According to the U.S. Mint, over 700 million Washington quarters were minted in 1984. However, the number of coins in excellent or uncirculated condition is much smaller. So while these coins aren't rare in terms of total mintage, those in higher grades have become harder to find, especially in the wild. So, If you're out looking for a 1984 Washington quarter in very good condition, you're likely to find one, but it's still a coin worth paying attention to, especially if you happen to find one with sharper details or if it has any unique characteristics. Now, if you're a collector or someone who's starting to invest in rare coins, Washington quarters like the 1984 D Mint mark can make a great addition to your collection. Over the years, coin values can appreciate, especially as more people recognize the value of coins that might have seemed common at the time of minting. Investing in coins is all about knowing the condition, rarity, and demand. For quarters like the 1984 D, those in very good to excellent condition are the ones to keep an eye on. While the value might be sky high today, in a decade or two, you could see a nice increase as the coin becomes even rarer. If you're serious about collecting, I recommend keeping your quarters in a safe place, like a protective coin holder, to preserve their condition and value. And as always, if you're looking to buy or sell, make sure you check a reliable coin guide or consult with a professional appraiser. So there you have it. While the 1984 Washington quarter with a D Mint mark in very good condition might not be the most expensive coin out there, it definitely has value, especially as it's becoming more difficult to find in better condition. If you happen to come across one, make sure to check it carefully for wear, and you just might have a rare gem on your hands. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar with a D Mint mark in very good condition. Is this coin really worth something? You might be surprised at its value in today's market. So let's take a close look at this rare find. At first glance, a 1980 Washington quarter dollar might seem like anything special. After all, it's a modern coin, minted just over 40 years ago. But as with all things in the world of coin collecting, condition, rarity, and certain mint marks play a huge role in determining the value. Now, the key question is what makes the 1980 Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark special? Well, it's the combination of its age, condition, and the mint mark that gives this coin its value. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which produced these coins. But just because it's from Denver doesn't automatically make it rare. When talking about rare coins, condition is everything. The term very good condition might sound simple, but it actually means a coin with noticeable wear that still retains its major details. For a 1980 Washington quarter, this includes the profile of George Washington and the eagle on the reverse side. A very good coin will show some signs of age, like surface scratches or minor fading, but the design remains legible and the coin still holds some appeal to collectors. As you can see, a very good condition coin will have some wear. The date and mint mark are clearly visible, but the detail in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers may be softened by time. But don't be fooled. This coin still has plenty of appeal in the right market. So what's the market value of this coin today? In 2024, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar with a D Mint mark in very good condition can fetch anywhere from $180,000 depending on the exact state of the coin and where you sell it. You might think that sounds a little low for a coin minted in the 1980s, but here's the thing, despite being over 40 years old, this coin is not considered rare in high numbers. The key is finding the right buyer, someone who is willing to pay a premium for even coins in very good condition. Now, let's get into why the 1980 Washington quarter with the D Mint mark might be worth more in certain cases. Rarity plays a huge role in determining the value of any coin. And while millions of these coins were produced, the market can sometimes place higher value on those in better than average condition, or coins that come with unique characteristics. If you come across a 1980 quarter with no wear or minimal scratches, or if it's in a rare uncirculated condition, it could easily exceed $350,000 and in some cases, even more. Another factor to consider is population reports. Some years, the production of certain coins might have been lower, making a particular year or mint mark rarer than others. In this case, even though the 1980 Washington quarter isn't one of the rarest coins, you might find collectors who specialize in those years or specific mint marks, making it a valuable addition to their collection. To sum up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark is not a coin that will make you a millionaire. However, in very good condition, it can hold a solid market value of anywhere between $5 to $20. But like any coin, condition is key, so if you come across a quarter that's in excellent shape, don't overlook it. It might just be worth more than you think. Make sure to check your pocket change or coin jars. You never know when you'll find a rare coin that could be worth a nice chunk of change. And remember, with coin collecting, it's not just about the money, it's about the history and the hunt for hidden treasures. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe for more content on rare coins and their values. Drop a comment below if you've found any interesting coins recently, or if you have any questions about the 1980 Washington Quarter. Until next time, happy collecting!